We start with big breaking news. What an event this promises to be. We can confirm the legendary Floyd Mayweather's exhibition fight against Logan Paul will be live on Sky Sports pay-per-view on June the 6th. Mayweather, who ended his 50-fight pro career unbeaten, will take on the YouTuber in a one-off fight at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. Now, there's been plenty of controversy around this one already, with Logan Paul's brother, Jake, goading the former world champion in the face-off earlier this month. Well, for more on this news, we can head to the biosecure bubble ahead of the Joshua Buatsi versus Daniel Blender dos Santos fight and join Sky Sports' Andy Scott. Andy.
Yeah, good evening. It is big news. Floyd Mayweather Jr., the greatest fighter of the modern era, will risk his reputation against YouTube sensation Logan Paul. Live on Sky Sports box office, June 6th from the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. Adam Smith joins me now. Adam, the weird and wonderful world of boxing always surprises us, and this is a big one. I'm saying the words exhibition, but Floyd Mayweather risks his reputation against Logan Paul. Sum it up for us.
The weird and wonderful world of boxing, of changing social media, of YouTube, of everything. It's entertainment, Andy. That's what it is. Obviously, we've covered Floyd Mayweather throughout his prestigious professional career. In my opinion, the greatest natural fighter to lace them up since Sugar Ray Leonard. I was there in Atlanta when he got robbed of Olympic gold. Should have won Olympic gold. Obviously, 50-0, phenomenal times with Floyd, and some amazing memories. One of those was Conor McGregor, of course, where we crossed over into that world as well, the UFC world. So that was a fusion. Many people didn't think Conor would put it off, but it was an amazing event to be part of. And here we go with another one. I mean, we covered KSI and Logan Paul, and I don't think either of us knew much about them at all. My kids did. I don't know if you knew anything about Logan before we started that, but we got to know them. We got to work with them. They're great guys. They're intelligent. They were well matched as novices. It was a phenomenal week out in LA, and it appeals to a really mass audience, especially with sort of the young teenagers, and they can't wait. I know my son was saying, you know, when's are you doing Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather? You know, there is a massive appetite out there for it. And obviously, yeah, Floyd puts his sort of reputation, I guess, on the line. He's been involved in one or two things like this already. And for Logan Paul, we've worked with him for KSI. We look forward to working with him again. He's a real character, Andy, and I love working with personalities. The
announcement, the press conference, blew up, didn't it? It was actually the other Paul, Jake Paul, rattled Floyd's cage somewhat by taking his hat. It could have been a publicity stunt, but it didn't look like it because Floyd well and truly was annoyed. We've seen him in these exhibitions before. We've seen him in WWE with the big show at the time. Yeah, I mean, we've seen him in against Japanese kickboxer Tenshin. I mean, that lasted just 140 seconds. You do get the impression that Floyd is annoyed, though.
Yes, well, you know, Floyd Mayweather is Floyd Mayweather, isn't he? He wants to be star of the show, and you know, nicking a hat and sort of, you know,
he felt disrespected, didn't he?
He just, you know, it doesn't happen to him, does it? So I think that was a good ploy by Jake Paul, who's done well, you know, in the crossover. I mean, he's won some fights. He beat Gibb, as we know, and look, I tell you what, I really enjoyed, Andy, with working with on the KSI Logan Paul fight, is working with Bazinga and Joe Weller and some of these guys. They're a fantastic sort of new generation, and you know, look. The trade fans might be saying, you know, this is not really boxing, but let's be honest, it's entertainment, it's an exhibition, it's fun, it's going to be a circus, and we're all in for it. It's fantastic. Anything that's got Floyd Mayweather on is going to be magnetic. You know, we had Mike Tyson back in the day. Wherever Tyson went, you followed. Now the money man. Wherever Mayweather goes, you follow. Logan Paul, I mean, he really impressed me. And I went to his house out in LA, and it's chaos out there, Andy. Honestly, it's absolutely mad. But he's an intelligent fella, and him and Jake will be trying to wind up Floyd, no doubt. You know, can Logan even match Floyd for a minute or two? That's the big question. I mean, obviously, it's a mission impossible, you'd have thought, for Logan Paul, despite the massive sort of, you know, height, reach, weight advantage. I mean, have anything. I mean, taking a baseball bat into the ring, I think Mayweather would be able to find a way, because Floyd is a genius, a ring genius. But you know, he's 44, I think, now, and maybe the reflexes have slowed a little bit, and you know, people are going to get behind Logan Paul. Can he do it? Can he pull off the impossible? It's an exhibition. It's entertainment. Andy, bring it on.
There is an appetite for it. We've discussed that. Just looking at the purses that the two are reported to be earning, 14 million for Logan Paul. Mayweather expected to take home a staggering 72 million. I just wonder, if I put this to you now, when you started off with Floyd all those years ago, had I said to you, look, 20 years later, we're still going to be going on the Floyd Mayweather train, I don't think you would have believed me.
Multi-weight world champion, some incredible nights. I mean, when he destroyed Diego Corrales, who was a wonderful fighter himself, one of the best. Juan Manuel Marquez, he couldn't even live with him. You know, Canelo, obviously Pacquiao, that happened way too late in his career. But, you know, some amazing nights we had. The Ricky Hatton one, of course, when he broke British hearts. And, you know, look, Floyd's been a maverick. He's been an entertainer himself, you know, just to get around him and sort of see him in the gym. I mean, he trains like no one else. He was never out of shape, still never out of shape. And he's, you know, he went from the pretty boy to the money man. He went with the mantra, he's a love him, hate him type character. And that's the same as Logan Paul. And no, do you think I ever thought he'd be in this sort of a bout on June the 6th? No, of course I didn't. But, you know, Muhammad Ali had exhibitions, didn't he? And I think, look, Mayweather's having fun. He likes the limelight. He misses that. And we love seeing him. So we're all going to be tuning in. We're all going to be watching a little bit like that, but, you know, and calling it a little bit like that too. But do you know what? It's fun. And I think that we all need entertainment, especially after the last sort of year and a half in the pandemic. And let's embrace it. I think it's a really interesting, it's going to be a great build-up. It's going to be great fun working with the YouTubers again. And anything that Floyd Mayweather touches, you want to be a part of. You want to be watching, because Floyd dazzles. And I have no doubt he'll want to do it again. But there'll be plenty of build-up before we get there.
Adam, thank you very much. The fun starts now. The chaos starts now. Floyd Mayweather Jr. takes on Logan Paul. Sky Sports box office, June 6th, live from Miami.
It's showtime!
He's putting it all on the line.
Oh, this is going to be a crazy event.
Watch